But we are right now heading over to Clubhouse. We're going to see TrainHard throw down against Team Secret. We all know what to expect here. We saw a very good Team Secret come out in play day one and a TrainHard that struggled a little bit. And let's hope that they have trained hard since that last play day. I'm sure that they've got a little bit more to show to us. And in come the operator bans. Thatcher, no surprises there, Jess.
Interesting. I mean, the reason I say interesting is because Team Secret is historically known on this map to get rid of Hibana all the time. I know she's gone through a bit of changes as of late, not that late, but still. And so for me, I'm sort of looking around and going, okay, they usually get rid of the Hibana. What's changing them doing that? Is it because they would read into the fact that TrainHard would ban the Maverick and that would limit them on their hard breach? Very possibly. But either way, it's a little shake up from the usual Team Secret, which is very warranted considering they made a couple of changes themselves. So I don't mind to see a bit of change up.
Well, yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. We've had that change in backroom staff. We've had a couple of players come and go. They're one of the teams, really, apart from a new roster like TrainHard that's essentially been pulled together. They're one of the teams that have seen the most changes. So, yeah, maybe we can expect to see a slightly different approach, a slightly different Team Secret. We've got Kaid and Wamai rounding out the bans there. Kaid, not a massive surprise with that Thatcher going by the wayside, especially with Maverick gone as well. You certainly don't want hatches that are insurmountable.
I'm wondering whether that Wamai is just something they don't want to go up against, whether it's a counter ban or whether they want to try and start bringing some of the Capitao as well, considering it only has one counter and the magnets are it. I'm a little bit questioning it. I do look over towards both of the rosters here, however, and the only operators that I really consider to be like of any flavor of any kind is the Malusi. I mean, a lot of teams have been starting to bring the Aruni Ace. I've been really excited to see it, but this is looking like you could throw these operators in like last year and it would be the same sort of composition. So Clubhouse, the OG competitive map, they're bringing the OG lineups now with the addition of Malusi.
Des is always very excited when the Aruni gets brought along if I'm casting Jess, because he loves me. He loves for me to describe her gadget, but I'm not going to give him the pleasure right now. We'll have to wait and see if she gets picked up through the game or not. I just can't do it for him. You know what it's like, Jess. You've worked with Des.
Oh,
you can't play into him. He's a bit of a nightmare if you play into him.
You're absolutely right, but you know what? We're both free of him here. You know, just me and you in the
shackles are off, Jess.
Today.
The shackles are off.
They're completely off. What's new that some people probably want to point out, however, is that a lot of teams used to make the full rotate between rafters on garage and CCTV. Nowadays, teams are like, nah, it gives attackers too much entry into the site and we want to limit them. So we'll just make a line of sight here. So that's why you're just seeing the line of sight there. And I started seeing it being featured in ranked a couple of months ago. And I was like, yeah, all right, this is the new meta. So that's really the only change on this Clubhouse at the moment.
TrainHard just recognising that the hatch there has been opened up into bar, so something they need to be aware of if they try to play underneath. There is always the potential of either a drop or just a direct challenge from that hatch. Now, Blaz, he's going to move in. He's looking to clear out the bandit underneath, and looks like he will be successful. Plenty of utility used, high forced away, and 50 HP gone as well. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far, Jess. We are less than a minute in. East wall is open. Bandit cleared away. There's some good mid-floor control coming in from TrainHard. It's early to call it, but this is already a slightly different team than I think I saw on Chalet.
I'm really surprised as well. That was very swift. That was very efficient. Now the biggest test will be garage control. Do they take it in entirety? Do they just pressure it from the outside? I don't care how you do it, but you've got to do it quickly because you were able to get that first half done by getting the open the wall. Do you rotate and do a pinch push over in construction? No, you do a big garage take, it looks like in TrainHard. They know exactly where the rafters player is. If they get control of this ace, this is a really confident first round and on their attack of all things.
It certainly is. I mean, the thing is that at the minute, they've got absolutely bags of time to spare as well. Draven's going to take some damage there. That's Hyph and Draven both now having the health chipped away. But who else? Sleben, the man of play day one for Team Secret, comes through and absolutely destroys Noera across the garage there. Blaz, however, gets in, and we start to see maybe a little bit more from him, a little glimpse of those frags we might expect to see. And now, with a minute left to go, things are starting to really heat up here. We are 4 versus 4. That soft wall that you commented entered on, Jess, starts to get opened up. That gives us a little bit of access to that default plant spot. Now then, Kaoxis, he has the diffuser in hand right now, but isn't up on the catwalk. So that does lead to an interesting question of just exactly where that diffuser is intended to either be brought into sight or to be planted. But with 30 seconds left to go, Secret start to fight back. Hag finds himself a kill with a headshot onto Blaz. Time is ticking away like sand through an hourglass right now. Spark is downstairs and it's time to make a move. You can't keep standing still, because if you do, you're going to get dropped like Durza. 15 seconds left to go, and Secret, they are looking good right now. They're sitting pretty. Prano shuts down Spark, and surely it's just a matter of time as the seconds tick away. Kaoxis is on super low health, tries to make the challenge, shut down, and Team Secret take a good round one. Jess, what went wrong for TrainHard? It all looks so good up to that final minute.
What was Kaoxis doing out on the platform? It just looked like he was spectating a game. He was a fly on the wall to what the rest of his teammates were doing. And mind you, I don't mean to be, rude here, but you'd opened up the wall, you'd done your job, and now your second job out of your steps, of which you only really have 3 steps after droning, getting the wall open, is to plant. And he just couldn't seem to get himself in the building to make a plant happen. Really strange. 9 times out of 10, that diffuser will go through up in garage, and it will actually go through if you open up the solid wall, or you go through the soft wall there. And instead, it looked like he wanted to run across the red line of sight. I mean, that was messy, because the start of their round, the early and mid round, looked great. It was smashing. It looked like they had everything going for them. They got garage control, and they only lost 1 player doing it. And then everyone went, oh, so what do we do now? Should we wait for them to peek us? No, boys, you get a plant down. That's what you have to do. And they just didn't do it. Shame, because that round absolutely could have been theirs. But that sparks of greatness coming out of them. And maybe this round we get to see it.
It is quite unfortunate, but it was, as you say, quite unorthodox as well. Generally speaking, one of 2 things happen. If your hard breacher is going to be your carrier, then, like you said, they get east wall open and they disappear to garage. Or whoever the hard breach doesn't carry the diffuser and somebody going to garage does, so that you've got it in that safe location to push from behind the server stack rather than... It was a strange decision, either way. But moving into round number 2, we go. TrainHard, they this time will be attacking down onto Church and Arsenal. Again, we saw good early progress from them last time around. They certainly didn't mess around when it came to getting that hard wall breached and getting themselves the access to site. So here, their primary function is going to be get in and get control over top of mid-floor. Make sure there are no roamers, force Team Secret back to site. Once they've done that, hopefully with at least half of the round remaining, the more the better, they will start to aim to open hatches, possibly get down and open that church wall, although we have seen a lot less of that lately, Jess.
Yeah, I think some teams are trying to streamline the way that they get into sight and the openings that they do make, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be too worried about a flank, because it can only really come from one-ish area, and that's out of blue door or garage, and either they go upstairs or they go into bar, and you can deal with that with 1 to 2 drones maximum, and you should be fine. For TrainHard, something I have to praise them for is how quickly they get into the building. Their pre-placed drones must be spectacular, because they get in and they look very confident doing so, and they don't seem to be worried that anyone's roaming. So that's a pretty confident sign to me that they have some pretty good pre-placed drones. And we saw, I think it was Kaoxis, he had a drone set up in bathroom, very aware if anyone went over to strip, for example. So that's a good sign of a team that's worked out a lot of the kinks in their strategy.
Oh, the information game must be absolutely on point now. Prano's going to take the point of a bullet there as he tries to pass through Blue Tunnel, just having a little peek out from behind the generators. He's going to be finished off by Kaoxis. Headshot, he didn't need it. 1 or 2 bullets would have done the job anyway, but why not go for the finesse if possible and take Prano out? That is the Jaeger going by the wayside. 5 versus 4 now, and TrainHard are starting to get themselves positioned for this final push.
They've got a full 60 seconds left to work with. I'm really enjoying seeing Blaz not just be the gunner, but he's also been using a lot of his impacts to get rid of key items all over the site, the gadgets. We've got those banshees, etc., the barbed wire, and now he's here to make an ingress bar. Draven, if he has anything to say about it, will stop Dirtz on his way on in, who's not had a pretty good game so far, and I'm pretty worried for them now because they've got 40 seconds left. They could have baited things out here, and instead they're getting shredded.
Noera just moving to get in there and start to level things out, but it's going to be Sleben once again just locking things down after the double from Gomfi, which started with a Nitro. Team Secret now find themselves 3 versus 1. Noera on super low health. He will have Noera left in his body as Gomfi puts him in the ground with his 3rd kill of the round, and that is going to be Team Secret taking round number 2. Things not looking great for TrainHard. It's such a shame, Jess. They've got such a good early round game. As you said, they get in there quickly. They clear out roamers. They scare them back to site. And they're doing a great job of the fundamentals to begin with. They just don't seem to have that execution to back it up. They're even getting the kills. They're winning some of the gunfights. They just don't seem to be, maybe, I don't know, is it positioning? Is it timing? I really can't just pin it down.
That round was even more obvious to me as to what the problem is they had 43 seconds left from when I looked at it and I noted it down between when they literally had opportunity to start baiting out the plant to when they decided, all right, guns ablaze, boys, I'm just going to start popping shots off. And I think to myself, whoa, slow down a second. You've just given yourself an extra 40 seconds to play with, which is about 25 to 30 seconds more than most other teams get when they get near side, and you're just going to throw it out the window? This doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't really add up. And I'm a little bit suspicious that possibly there's a lack of late round shot calling and IGLing. A lot of people seem to think that IGL shot call from start of the round to the end. They simply do not. Generally, the IGL will start early round, and then go maximum until mid. And then you'll have other leaders in the group like shot callers who'll start to call what needs to be done. They can see a lot more than the rest. And that's generally how it happens. So maybe that's the disconnect, Ace. Maybe they're missing a leader for mid to late round to step up and get those shot calling done, because it's a stark difference from the early round.
As you say, like getting into that makes perfect sense. Getting into position, and then let's just actually, I've got a shot in front of me, so I'll pop a few bullets at it and see what I can get. And it's almost as if they're sort of devolving into individuals at that point after this great teamwork in the early round, and there's not that same coordination in the late game. Well, we'll see if that is the same case here in round number 3. Now, Gomfi, he's one that's going to have to be nailed down, and this is interesting because TrainHard, as we've said, they've been great on the information game so far, going in not only denying it to the attackers, but also able to use it to maximum effect, to understand where all the defenders are and to be able to flush them out quite quickly. Now, Gomfi, he's playing down in oil pit and he's unspotted, and he gets the headshot onto Noera, and that is something so far that TrainHard have not done. They have not slipped like that, and if they're going to start these rounds, they're going to get quicker and quicker. They're going to hit a downhill very, very soon.
Chaoxes need to be very careful with his very last exothermic, because it's all that they have left to work with here. No secondary hard bridge gadgets, nothing else to work with, Ace. So Chaoxes, he needs to make sure that wherever he uses that, I'm going to make the assumption Jacuzzi, but you never know. Teams might have a different version of how they want to get into sight. That would be a mistake if it wasn't Jacuzzi. But have a look where he's going in now. Garage, right where his teammate just died, with one of the most important pieces of gadgets in his hand. And this is what he chooses to open? Ace, tell me I'm dreaming.
I mean, he's opening a hard wall, Jess, that's got a window 2 panels along from it. I understand that window faces onto red stairs, but it still seems somewhat wasteful in terms of the utility. It just isn't really necessary. Let's not forget that this is on the back of when attacking this site, actually looking to move in from East Breach rather than opening that wall. It's, if anything, it was the priority in round 1.
Do they know what the site is? They know what the site is, right? Because it just looked like they didn't, considering they used both exothermics. Jacuzzi is slammed shut. Nothing else is opened up, and Blaz has only just come over to the bedroom windows with 25 seconds left. Ace, I really think they have no idea what's going on.
Prono gets downed by the nade that gets thrown in. They're going to really have to make a move here, TrainHard. 2 go down as Gomfi finds a second, and that will be Durza going by the by. And Nitro goes out, and we're just trading backwards and forwards here until Hyphen Draven get in on the action, and ultimately they reach the core of that defense, Jess, and they were just completely shut down when they got there. And it's certainly around to have a watch back. As you say, the utility use and the focus onto CCTV was interesting to say the least, given the amount of time that it took them to get in there, and also that focus of just trying to get in behind the server stack there as if that was the priority. But one way or another, they fell short when they tried to get through to Gym and Bedroom, and Team Secret were happy to mop up what was left.
I'm just sitting here bewildered by that round because they started off strong. They got open the platform wall. They made sure that no one was bandit tricking, and they had even half of the wall opened up into cache. So in my mind, I sort of thought to myself, well, actually, they don't really need to do a lot of work there because half of it's soft. They've got a buck to work with. There's only one shield over towards red. What's the problem? And then the almighty exothermic over towards where you can see Prano shotgunning now. I just don't know. I don't know what. I'm going to have to watch that back, honestly, myself. Not just TrainHard's going to have to watch that back. I absolutely need to watch that back because I have no idea what I just witnessed. And they know that they couldn't go back to CC because naturally they won it, so they have to go to another site. I mean, I don't know. Ace, I'm hoping it was just a little bit of miscommunication as to what the strategy was, because at the end of the day, a lot of the TrainHard players are feeling a lot of pressure at the moment because they've been criticized about what happened recently in their imposition into the Tier 1 scene. So they want to give themselves a bit of an identity. And if they want to do that, they can't be doing things like this.
Solid play coming in from Hive on the Bandit. This is an interesting take on an operator that we've seen many, many times on this site, and we think we know exactly what to expect. They're going to play on the east wall, they're going to try and bandit trick, and that is going to be their round. Now, interestingly, he's just bandit tricked a Selma device off the garage wall, which helps to defend that catwalk position. But not only that, Jess, I'm sure you saw it at the beginning of the round, he actually put a bandit battery on the hard wall, the hard reinforced that's on the catwalk that faces Thank You Medics there right in front of us. And again, it's not an overly common one, and the reason that has been done is to prevent a line of sight from the east wall being opened up potentially, because if you can get that middle wall breached, then you can get a line of sight through onto catwalk. So if you've got a Hibana, if you've got an Ace, if you've got anybody that can deploy a hard breach at range like that, it can be difficult to clear it off because it's behind the safety of the server stacks. So it's actually an interesting technique there, just to try and keep Draven safe out on the catwalk.
Well, he's safer now as they're only just making their attempt to take Garage. They know, Secret knows that TrainHard is very good at this. Flashes will come raining down like it's no tomorrow, and that is when it will certain to him, it will cue to him that he needs to get his butt out of there because they are going to be shooting at him left, right, and center. No error. He's looking for his position on rafters. Drones will come up to confirm, and they think he's rafted too, and that's where the grenade will sit. And oh no, confirms he is not, and there goes yet another grenade. Finally, it rolls into his lap, and Draven finally goes down. Time management, Ace, looking good again, but we know how downhill this can go very quickly, so don't want to have that happen again. They want to get themselves onto site this time and get a plant down.
Exactly that. Now they've got themselves into position. This is the bit that TrainHard have struggled with. They've done fantastically well with the first minute and a half to 2 minutes of the round, as we've seen them do time and time again. Now then, they are getting that wall breach. Great start. Blaz is there. He's looking to get his line of sight that he needs down red corridor. I'm still concerned about the position of that diffuser. Chaoxis has got it out on the breach. It's not the end of the world, and he may choose to plant exactly where he stands, just inside of the door. That's what he's going to do. Fantastic from TrainHard. They've not tried to move across that line of sight of Slevin. Diffuser goes down successfully. We're looking much better, Jess. Out comes a Nitro unsuccessfully. Toxic Babe canister wasted, does not have any impact. So they've got the diffuser down and they've only lost one man for it. So we now find ourselves 4 versus 4, and Team Secret are desperately on the back foot here. There is an awful lot of work to be done now. Slevin, he has a little peek round the corner. He's trying to poke the Alder out there and see if he can find any business, but he can't. Hive, he manages to get one. Slevin gets in on it, but they are traded straight back again. 2 versus 2, 7 seconds left to go. This is all down to Gomfe. He's got to double up, and he's got to do it now. He's not going to have time. The time is gone. The sand has run through the timer. He cannot defuse, and then it is finished off. Chaoxis had a great post plant out on the rappel. Much better from TrainHard. That's what we wanted to see, Jess.
They did it. I'm just pausing for effect, you know? It's like a theater method where you're just like, wow, everyone take it in. They did it. They have shown us that the round one wasn't a fluke, that they didn't just get in, with the early mid-round really successfully and not know what to do with it. They do. They just needed a few rounds to warm up. It's like what we said about BDS the other day in Playday number 1. BDS said in their interview, we felt a bit slow in our first half. This might be what is cursing TrainHard today. Mind you, brand new team, so got to cut them some slack a little bit in that they're still formulating everything. But if you look at their I guess, tactical prowess of that is that they had someone guarding below over towards lobby double doors to make sure there was no C4. They had the appropriate plant so that it wasn't behind CC server rack. I mean, they did everything right that round. That corner plant from Chaoxys was spot on. Not a single smoke even landed within a clear radius of him. They know what they're doing, Ace. I just think that those rounds were just not a good showing that they know what they're doing. That's it. That was a great round.
Well, I mean, I like round 4 because it sheds a new light on round 1. Obviously, we were asking questions in round 1, and they were open-ended questions about what was the plan with that diffuser. You've got it out on the breach. Normally, you'd be looking to get it in behind server stack, but that now clearly answers that question for us, that the intention was to plant on breach, which it's a higher risk. That we can't get away from that. You do step out of the range or the usual target location for those smoke canisters, but equally you've got to be careful because if Sleben approaches that door, I don't think they had anybody on the rappel cover. If Sleben approaches the door, it's an easy kill for him. So it's sort of pluses and minuses, it swings and roundabouts. There's positives and negatives to it, and they've pulled it off absolutely brilliantly there. I think they would need to be careful if they were attacking onto CCTV again, which will only happen if we go to overtime now, because I think that close angle would be watched, probably much more intently from Team Secret. But great play from TrainHard, credit where it's due. They've absolutely smashed out round 4. Let's see how they can follow it up on Church and Arsenal.
Well, the big thing to point out now, or for all the viewers to look for in this round, is can Prano preserve his life down in blue for longer than he did last time? Because that is the power position. And shout out to our beautiful medics for pointing this one out. That's the power position for this site. That's why you'll see Banshee, you'll see multiple ADSs, and you'll see the Jaeger with the carbine sitting there. He'll finally spot out the drone, and he knows that they know his position. But, I mean, at the end of the day, everyone knows the Jaeger player pretty much sits here. So they'll probably flash him out, follow it with a grenade, and, well, if Prano's not careful, his life will be extinct before we know it. But they've taken a little bit longer than they usually do here, Ace. They've actually gone a little bit longer on their time delay than they, we've seen them in the past few rounds. So this might be a good thing for Secret here. And that ADS was not the best, but it doesn't matter. He's still got one more to work with.
Reasonably easily cleared, that one, I think it's fair to say. But there goes Prano, reasonably easily cleared once again, this time by Chaoxys, who gets in with a double. Chaoxys is absolutely going wild the last couple of rounds, finds himself up to 8 kills now. 1 minute left to go, and things are not looking good for Secret. They're looking fantastic for Chaoxys, who finds himself a triple on the round. Spark gets in on the action, and it's the spark that Chaoxys needs for the 4th, and that is going to finish the round in quick fashion for TrainHard. And Jess, this is a different team in round 4 and 5. They really have found their feet now. They've got themselves established, and this is what I desperately wanted to see out of them. We never like to see teams come in and look like they're struggling. I want to see your best every single game, and TrainHard now certainly look like they are starting to show us it, and they're going to get another opportunity to show us just how capable they are of attacking onto Church and Arsenal.
I'm sorry, I have to laugh. Look at that scoreboard. I was in disbelief when I saw Chaoxys moved over to a support role, because for people who don't know him, when he played on his previous team, he was the Jaeger main. He was gunning left, right, and center. He was running around the map wildly. He was doing all those things. Maybe in the second half he will default back to Jaeger. I highly doubt it with the new team that he's on. So now he's on full support. And he goes, well, okay, I can open walls and I can use my utility and I can drone, but how about after I do all that, I also get all the kills for the rest of the frags on my team? Now, a lot of people would say that's a weakness to have your support player be popping off and your frag is not, but I don't think that matters for TrainHard, because at the end of the day, the job's getting done.
That's what it's all about, Jess. You know, we can sit here and we can talk about strategically perfect siege rounds and how everybody plays their position all day long. But if TrainHard come away with 2 or 3 points here today, they're not going to worry about who got them frags. They're not going to care for a second that Chaoxis took the thermite, did his job, and then destroyed everybody. That's not going to matter in the slightest. And right now, Team Secret need to find a way of dealing with that. They can't allow him to have that sort of freedom after he's used those gadgets. And right now, we're going back down to Church and Arsenal. They're going to have to try again. And I dare say there's been a change here to try and help Prano particularly. He's not been faring particularly well in the blue corridor. So we've got a new method of trying to hold on to that area. And that's going to be Draven with a mirror. This seems a little bit higher risk to me, Jess.
You would think that, and especially when you put it on a soft wall, you would absolutely think that. But Secret will definitely know. You know what, Ace? I think I have to stop myself.
Scratch that.
Because you know what's happening. Scratch that. Let's go, Ace. Bring us on in.
Chaoxis is going to take down Draven on the mirror, so he's gone. Blaz gets shut down as he tries to push through that dirt tunnel, but Noera is backing him up. We've also got the Ace of Spark. No, sorry, the Ace of Noera in sight, joined by Chaoxis. They just crossed over each other there, and across the streams made it awfully difficult to keep track of them, but keep track of that diffuser because it has been planted, and it's Chaoxis once again. His cost is going to be sky high this game, and we can see very strangely, Jess, it's still defenders in and around site, but not making any impact here, and their gadgets are actually being used against them. Noera moving in and managing to use the mirror. Spark jumping out from behind there. An absolute nightmare for Team Secret as TrainHard go in there, claim the site for their own, and just flip reverse all the utility, using it against the defenders.
You know what started that entire thing? And it's such a minute detail that I was able to spot out in the prep phase, and everyone might have missed it, but make sure you go back on that round from the very, very beginning of the prep phase. Blaz snuck his drone all the way up dirt tunnel right into the door. There were no goo mines. There was nothing stopping them from getting in dirt. He knew it. He left his drone in the corner of the door of the entrance to Armory. He said to the boys, look, no one's in dirt. In fact, they've barricaded it off. What if we get there, slap it open, and rush on in, since we know at least one of them are roaming? That's a brilliant counter strategy to roaming strategies that teams employ on the bottom floor site. TrainHard is here to play tier 1. I am absolutely certain of it now. And just because they might have stuffed up a little bit on Chalet, being a brand new map, a cult classic of Clubhouse is something they're showing they can play and play well.
They really are at this point, and Team Secret certainly know that they're in for a game. I think after the few rounds that started as round 1 and 2, Team Secret could have been forgiven for thinking that it could be a quick day for them, but I'm sure that there's been some serious words had and that they are knowing they need to try and slow things down a little bit, because those last couple of rounds have also been extremely quick, particularly round 6 there, as you said, Jess, just taking that opportunity to get down dirt tunnel. And when defending Church and Arsenal, you have to be acutely aware of 2 directions, I would say, particularly. We all know there's going to be pressure from Moto and from Church Wall. That's almost a given, but you have to be very aware of blue and dirt tunnel. You can't allow anybody to creep through those areas, because all of a sudden you see exactly what happens. You end up with a site of defenders that are just spinning round in circles because they don't know where the bullets have come from. They don't know where the pressure is being applied. They're encircled, they feel trapped, and then it is just a case of mopping up for the attackers. And TrainHard, they did a beautiful job not only of causing chaos, but of causing Chaoxis to get in there and get the diffuser down.
I love a good dad joke, Ace, and you're the perfect guy to make it, so I'll leave on there to fester for the audience. Nevertheless, we were speaking about speed, and Secret have shown, well, they can also give a little bit of speed on their attacks. Unfortunately so for TrainHard here, is what Secret looks like they're doing is what TrainHard didn't do, and do a pinch push. And that's going to be something that's going to be really quite powerful for them. They don't have the Thermite to play with here. They've got Hive on the Ace, and they've got Draven on the Hibana, and that's going to give them a multiplicity of areas to work with. My problem is Surya Gates. What are they called, Ace? What do you call those the gadgets?
They will be the Surya Gates, yeah.
No, Say it, Ace. Before they execute, you've got to say it.
They are the laser gates.
The way you say it with that accent, it's so freaking brilliant. But what's not going to be brilliant, I think, however, is how many Ash charges has Gomfi. He has none, and he has no breaching charge. I take it back. They're going to need Sleben to open up the second half of the construction panel to get on in for the plant. They could use some X-Kairos as well, but that might get impacted off. And they're trying to use the other half over towards this reinforced Logi wall. So actually, at the end of the day, they don't have enough utility to deal with this setup. TrainHard, as long as they don't peek too much, they'll be able to siphon them into a kill hole here.
I think that's a very big if, Jess. It's a problem that we did see from them last time around, but Durza's going to step up and absolutely remove Draven from things there, just using the peak hole through the cash construction wall. It's an interesting setup. It's one that I've seen in LATAM for about the last 6 months, where one of those sides is left soft in order to do exactly that, just to offer that ability to be able to challenge into construction, and that's been used absolutely wonderfully there. And the Hibana is gone by the wayside. I think the majority of those pellets have been used, as you'd said, so not really a massive loss on utility there, but still, it's about man count, it's about time, and it's about how this push is developing. But Sleben gets a beautiful headshot through the soft surface onto Chaoxis, but Noera gets in on the action, and once again, we've got one of these rounds just going backwards and forwards. It's bouncing wall to wall. There are kills just raining in, left, right, centre, 2 versus 1, as Blaz finds Gomfi, and ultimately TrainHard win. They managed to shut the round out once again, and TrainHard now, they are on a train track to destruction for Team Secret as they find 4 rounds in a row.
I got to ask there, for people who are wondering how that round probably went downhill, especially when the plant was almost done, Blaz on, I think, 5 to 10 HP in total, wrapped all the way around up main stairs, flanked the entire team during the execute. Was there not a drone? Surely there had to have been. Someone who had already died earlier in the round surely must have known that a flank was occurring, and no one either called it out or dealt with it, and Blaz gets a bit of a freebie there as he comes rushing through logistics. That's something you can't account for. You can't account for the fact that maybe your flank holder didn't set a drone, or maybe the drone can't see the entire flank position. I mean, overall, they could have won that round. I truly believe they could have won it if the plan had gone down, had they have had a flank drone. And Sieges, sometimes that simple, Ace, is that one drone missing could be the end of your entire round.
It's small margins. It's small margins when it comes to the gunfights. We know that they can be over in fractions of seconds. It can be the difference of pixels between living or dying inside of them. And as you say, in a round, it can be something as simple as the placement of a gadget or the existence of a drone. It really is fine margins, and it's what we all love about this game. Now, we're going to be heading to Gym and Bedroom in round number 8, and what a game we've got on our hands here, Jess. We really couldn't have asked for anything better for our first cast together. I'm on the absolute edge of my seat here, and what I love about today so far as a play day is think about this play day in terms of the stage as a whole. So we've seen Virtus Pro win in play day 1, they've lost in play day 2. We've got Team Secret at the minute struggling to get a result here. Now, if this was to continue and TrainHard win, look up at the top right of your screen, we've got the live rankings up there, a wonderful addition to this stage, I must say, and we see TrainHard go up into 4th position overall. There's a few teams left to play, but still, that is a big coup after their play day 1 performance. And we start in a position where this league is going to be super tight. You can already see it coming.
Oh, I love it. I love it. You couldn't have put it any better than that, Ace. And the fact that your toes, speaking of toes, oh my goodness, no, please be careful of the drone hole. Nevertheless, beautiful impact tricking from Blaz there. Hasn't had the big impact that Fabian said he would going into T1 just yet. I think we'll give him a couple more games to really warm into his new role. You and I discussed before that quite possibly there would be a hopeful role shift for Blaz, because he's a very, very good fragger when you give him the opportunity to do it. And right now he's on a bit of a flex role. So hopefully he gets a little bit more freedom into the future. Nevertheless, that's more of a support staffing issue and something they're going to have to work out as the season progresses. But as we get halfway through this round, this is something that TrainHard didn't do, and that's open up Jacuzzi wall here. Can Blaz hold off in the beautiful Shaiko spot? That's what we like to call it, right behind that little gym set there. We've seen some beautiful shots come out of there before from Shaiko. He's going to have to hold this all down on his own as the rest are focusing on Logi.
Blaz takes a lot of damage there and just happens to dip away back to bedroom, keeping himself safe behind that deployable shield. Now Hife's got a little peek hole through to the shower there. He's just going to see if he can catch any feet in there, but he will have no joy. Looking through towards Jim, he knows where Blaz was, and one bullet will end the party. Blaz has had to get himself absolutely locked inside of that corner now. Gonfi is playing on those windows and does have an opportunity potentially if he takes the peek here, but Blaz is just going to wait for him to move back across. Now then, this could be a big slip up, Jess. They've not dealt with CCTV, but we're aware Sleben was waiting for exactly that push, and he makes the shot that was so important. Chaoxis, though, gets in on the action. 2 kills for him, meaning 13 overall. The man is unstoppable here in round 8 for TrainHard. He's having a field day. Well, I say unstoppable, but then Sleben gets a frag grenade in there that does a pretty good job, but will be killed out. Spark gets one onto Prano. Blaz, Noera get in on the party, and it always seems now in these later rounds, like no matter how much the momentum shifts in the favour of Team Secret, TrainHard, they're just finding a way, Jess. They are just fighting hard as well as training hard, and they are here to get this one over the line.
I mean, if I was them right now, I'd be calling a big timeout, and I think they are. I think they're about to call a tactical timeout, at least what our admin is telling us, because that pause timer will go into effect, and they'll get a little bit of time to talk about what's going wrong. And I don't know what to say here, because you and I said about the last matchup that occurred that, you know, it was very clear that one team was doing things wrong. But is Secret really doing that much wrong, or is TrainHard just coming in heavy hitting here, and they're the ones just doing so much more than Secret's being able to put on the board here?
TrainHard are just winning it. I think, you know, that's what it comes down to. I can't look at anything specifically and say Secret have done that badly. Secret have made a mistake there. You know, we could look at potentially the discussion over a flank drone or not. You know, there may be small things there that they could have done better, but they're certainly not playing badly. They're getting their kills. Look at that situation. Chaoxis has got himself locked in bathroom, finds 2, and then Sleben clears him right out with a beautiful nade. Absolutely puts it on a dime and just takes the man out of there. So Secret are fighting hard. It's just that TrainHard are fighting harder for me right now.
Yeah, there's really no way to really put it. I mean, a lot of people will look to us and go, well, you're the experts. Can you explain it to me? I can't give it to you in any more fancy words than that. I mean, at the end of the day, TrainHard are playing excellently. And you do expect that not on Chalet, but on a fan favorite or a competitive favorite like Clubhouse, that you would 100% expect that Clubhouse be a map that every team, regardless of how long they've been playing together as a team, would know how to traverse this map. It looks like both teams do, but TrainHard is just, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, of course, teams have been scrimming, but this just looks really, really good. They've just manhandled Secret, and a lot of the Secret fans are going to be sitting there right now going, actually, we thought this might be an easy game for them. Did maybe the Secret players underestimate TrainHard as well?
We've got a saying in the north of England, and I don't know. I think it's probably not just in the north. I think I think people would reasonably understand what I say when I say that Secret are being roughed up right now. You know, that's the position they're in. Do you have that one in Australia as well, Jess?
Roughed up? We absolutely got that one in Australia.
You can get roughed up a bit, and that is exactly what the Secret are getting right now. You know, they must be feeling beaten up. They're against the ropes, and there are body blows just raining in from TrainHard here. They are not letting up whatsoever. And the reason that I use that analogy of the body blows is because it's the same effect as what a boxer is aiming for with a body blow, and that is that Team Secret are not being allowed to breathe. TrainHard are just swarming on them. They're up in their face. They're aggressive. They're playing a quick game. They're making sure those challenges come quickly. They're not... There we go. Thank you, Blaz, as if on cue. Gets a kill onto Sleben, and they're just not letting them get a second for themselves.
God, Blaz didn't have a good first half by the means of, you know, his reputation that we know him for. But the second half, oh, he has let it rip. Look at him running around, meeting people at the door. He knows he's being pinched, but it took 3 to 4 members there of Secret to dispatch of him after all of that. And they lost one of their key players, their soft breach, their grenades of Sleben, who right now is one of their highest fraggers alongside Gonfi. And the 2 additions to Secret doing their work, you know, making their salary right now with the frag department, but it's not enough. Frags are not enough against TrainHard here, because if you look over to their side, you got men like Chaoxys on the complete support role doing amazing things, and you just know that this is going to be a struggle for Secret, because even if they get rid of the roamers, they got to deal with the last man on site, Chaoxys, and that's terrifying.
Nobody wants to deal with Chaoxys today. That is absolutely for certain. Now, interesting there. Obviously, we've had the recent change to Hibana pellets that allows them to be shot in 4s and 2s and other combinations. And it's just meaning that this is what I love about Siege. Something that has rarely been possible before now becomes, you know, a staple of being able to move in and open up different lines of sight without putting yourself at the same sort of risk. Just using that facility to get those Hibana pellets through the floor joist there. Now then, Draven, he's going to be on that kitchen hatch, and Team Secret, they've managed to swing things back in their favour. Out go the smokes, and here comes the execute. Hive goes diving in, takes a lot of damage, but he's still going to be able to think about, no, he's been downed, he's been taken out by that smoke canister. You know who? Chaoxys once again. Draven manages to move in, pick up the diffuser and start to get it down on the ground though. Chaoxys gets a kill onto Gomfi. 2 versus 2 here. Draven gets 1. We find ourselves 1 versus 1. Noera versus Prano. Prano is on lower health. Noera is on the Aruna here and needs to find this kill before going to disable the diffuser. Prano knows exactly where he's located, just playing in and around the boxes now. I'm not sure that Noera is completely confident on Prano's location. He's forced him deep back into what would normally be a default plant spot there, but he just can't find him. He has no idea at this point. He's going to go in. He will lose the battle. Prano shuts it out for Team Secret, gets that final kill, but even then, it was still touch and go. It came down to that 1 versus 1, and it was so close for TrainHard being able to stop that diffuser going down at all. Team Secret, though, they stop the onslaught of TrainHard. That is 5 rounds in a row that they put pay to, and finally get one back for themselves to bring us to 4-5. And this one, to me, Jess, it stinks of overtime.
There's 2 really important things to point out there, Ace. 1, tactical timeouts work. They should have been added to the competitive rules a very, very long time ago, because it was only available on LAN environments. And, you know, this online environment is just as important. The regular season is just as important. So, number 1, tactical timeouts, they work. And they're able to give teams an opportunity to take a breather, walk away from those body shots you were talking about, and work out what's going wrong. Get, you know, their coach in for a little bit, and maybe they've seen something they haven't, which is often the case. Number 2, that was not a very confident win, was it? When you get down to a 1v1, you may have won the round, but surely a lot of the team is still shaken up from barely being able to walk away with the win. And that came down to a very, very deep armory plant, which had a long line of sight from multiple boxes. And the only thing that saved that plant going down is the tiny change that happened in the test server that's been brought to the live server, which is now the box 3 is double boxed onto box 2. So now you can't see over box 2 over towards the back of armory. It's blocked by a big double box. That's it. That's all it came down to, Ace. So 2 big changes that have come in on this season in Stage made the big difference. And what do you got to say about that one?
7 seconds, and Durza wipes out one of the top fraggers. Joint with Prano and Sleben. Gomfe is gone. It's the Ash, so not the end of the world. They haven't lost their hard breach or any essential utility, but it's just once again, as I said, Team Secret must just be feeling right now like they cannot cut a break. They take their tactical timeout. They come back, they get around, but it's by the skin of the teeth, and it's going to just, they might have slowed things down a little bit in that tactical timeout. They might have just got their heads back about them, and then what's going to happen? It's going to throw the pace of the comms and the team back through the ceiling again. They're back up there, they're back on edge, and it becomes tiring, it becomes draining, and then you load into round 10 and up pop TrainHard and kiss, bang, bang. There's a spawn peak and down goes Gomfe, and all of a sudden, once again, Team Secret just feel like they are backs to the wall. They are up against it, and they are fighting a losing battle. It's like trying to stop the tide with a bucket going up against TrainHard at the minute, but Hive, he's managed to patch it up, and he's managed to at least stop the progression for now with a headshot onto Spark, leaving us 4 versus 4. 1:35 left to go, and they seem to have foregone the East Breach at the minute.
That's one of the only other player denials that they really had. They've got Chaoxys with the smoke, and where you can hear one of them already going out. That's very early, and he's had good effect with his utility and his weaponry to go, hand in hand so far. Chaoxys is doing the Lord's work, but that's the other C4, the other player denial gone. So they're going to be relying on gun skill. They're going to be relying on the last 2 remaining smoke babes. And as this wall's been opened really early here, Ace, this looks like the most promising attacking round we've seen from Secret, as long as they can keep their wits about them.
1 minute left to go. Secret, as you say, well positioned. They've certainly got command of construction there. Blaz just being forced to move around in sight by those toxic babes of his own team, just meaning that he had to move away. He's taken an aggressive position right up on this door, and if not dealt with, he could be trouble here. He moves out. Can he find one? There's one just around the corner. He knows that. He will take some chip damage, but he has to move back, and that gives away his location now. That was his big moment, and it's unlikely that he's going to get more, but he does, and Blaz really shows us the ability that he has been promising. Gets the kill onto Draven. Slevin is down. Prano manages to get Durza. We're effectively in a 2 versus 2 right now. Blaz finds another and drops the diffuser. That is big for this round. 1 versus 2. Prano has it all to do. Blaz, he will confirm that kill, and that's 3 on the round for him. Now, moving through a Banshee will give away Prano's position. He's looking to move into construction. Shut down by Blaz on a 4K just when TrainHard need it, and that is the Blaz we've been waiting to see.
I've been pointing out very important facts almost every round here, Ace. Now I'm going to bring another one. I'm going to slap another one right in front of you right here, right now. Name a player on TrainHard that hasn't stepped up in at least 1 round on both sides, on both halves.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm like looking at the guys whose cameras we can see there, and we've got deep breaths being taken. They are feeling this game. They are absolutely living this game. And Chaoxys, he's living his movie right now. 15 and 7 on a thermite for the most of the game. He's loving life.
There is nothing less you could say about TrainHard right now, other than they're going up against a team of Team Secret nonetheless. That is at one of the height of the Team Secret that we've known them for the past year or so, even more now. And we can safely say that they're not going up against an easy team. It hasn't been an easy opponent. This is not a match we expected TrainHard to win by any feat of the imagination. At the end of the day, you've got a TrainHard here who you know for a fact is proving they deserve to be in Tier 1. They took a lot of criticism to begin with when they joined during this season, and they are proving a lot of people wrong. I'm very happy for them, and I've said from the very beginning, out of all of Europe, the French region has some of the strongest players in the world. They produce some of the strongest players in the world, and we are now getting to see that being, played for us again and again and again and again. And I'm wrapped for a lot, especially a lot of these rookies who get to come in and go, hey, look at me. I'm as good as the rest of them.
I love to see it. I love to see it. What is unfolding in front of us here is, out of everybody who played last week, there was, a couple of teams you look at and you think they don't seem up to scratch, with what everybody else is delivering. It's not to say that, they're not as good. They're just not delivering the same. And TrainHard coming out and doing this now, I just think, that's one less team that we look at like that. So for me, when I look at that next play day's fixture list, when I look at those matchups, I'm not looking then and thinking, that should be a win for them. I'm thinking TrainHard might just do that. And that's what I want from this league. I want 10 teams where I don't want to be able to predict a single matchup. I want them all to be that close and that good and that exciting. And this has been an absolute thriller to watch from both sides. There's been big plays in both directions. And honestly, this has been one of the surprises of the night for me. I'll hold my hands up and say it. It has been a surprise of the night. Obviously, we've been looking towards G2, we've been looking towards BDS Empire, and they've been fantastic games, and this one is living up to every single bit of that.
Well, as you've hyped it all up, Ace, we're getting down to the literal middle mark of this round. It's match point here for TrainHard. You heard that right, not for Team Secret, but for TrainHard, it is match point here on their second match Tier 1 under the TrainHard banner. Can they make it happen? Durza says, yes, we can, and he'll kick it off. Beautiful shots peppering through, and they're making it all happen within the very first, quarter of the second half of the round. That is an unbelievable feat. They're not wasting any time there whatsoever. And Secret, they look to be on the back foot now. Good numbers advantage, 3 apiece. That's not bad by any feat. But look at the rest of the TrainHard members. They've gone all the way back to site. They've taken the numbers and gone, hey, that's pretty good for us. Let's move on back. Blaz says, however, I want to rip this KD up, get it on the board. And the boys say, please come back to site. We've done our damage. It's time to play time now, which is, essentially their other team player.
I love that from Blaz. He has a great round and then he's straight back into the mix. He's like, let me at him, getting right up there at the windows, getting aggressive. And I love to see that confidence and fun coming out of TrainHard. You can just see that they're enjoying the performance here, and that's all that they really needed. Now then, we're going to have Team Secret just looking to make a move. 15 seconds left to go. I don't think he's aware of Spark here. Absolutely not. That was a bit of a scuffle, but Spark comes away on top. Draven starts fighting back. 7 seconds left to go. 2 kills left to find. Spark is on low health, but surely he's not going to make it. He gets shut down by Blaz, who swings around the corner, and TrainHard, they managed to get Playday 2 in the bag. I think I'm going to have to start calling Chaoxis the train driver, because he's just put them right back on track.
It was a slow start, as you expect the train to be, especially as you're filling it with coal. Playday 1 was not reminiscent of the TrainHard that we are seeing on this Playday. Night and day between both of these two teams, and Chaoxis, the hard support there for TrainHard, giving us a little bit of a taste of the old Bride-esque effect of when the support players became the highest rated, and he's going to walk away with a beautiful 15k. But that doesn't matter.